Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Hey, hi everyone. That was a little weird. Sorry, we've been going through some tech issues and all that. So apparently we're live. We didn't get our cool Mission Impossible theme music.
Yeah, it really. I feel I can't do the show.
I'm empty.
I'm
now.
walking off.
Yeah, we're going. Bye, guys. No, I'm sorry. Hey, welcome to Meet the Movie Press, and I am Mark Reilly. I am the editor-in-chief of schmozno.com, and
Jeff Sneider, film reporter. TheWrap.com.
Yes, you are. And yes, this is Meet the Movie Press. Guys, thank you, as always, for tuning in every Friday at 9 a.m. Sorry we're late, as I said. We are on the live chat at youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network. As always, rate, subscribe to us on iTunes. We love it. We keep going strong. And how was your week, dude?
Busy.
Yeah. Hey,
Wait.
I'm hearing some music now. Okay, anyways, we don't need it now. Zach, we don't need it. Who cares? Who cares? We lost it.
I don't know what's going on right now.
It's the end of it.
I'll yell at somebody after.
So yeah, how was your week, man?
It was busy. I'm exhausted. You know, coming off the Halloween partying weekend, it catches up to you.
Yep, it's
at
been,
our age.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, lots of partying as well for me.
Lots of AFM announcements.
Yeah,
AFI started up last night with By the Sea.
Yeah,
we sprinkled it in with some comic book news, and of course more Star Wars.
And more Star Wars. So much Star Wars, yeah. But first, I just wanted to throw an announcement out there. Just top of the show.
Oh, top of the show announcement from Mark Reilly.
Yeah.
Dig-a-dig-a-ding.
That's right. You've known about this. But guys, everyone who was watching the live show last night, Schmozno, on the Schmozno movie show, we're taking a little bit of a break. Don't worry, guys. I know people have been tagging me on Twitter. We're just going dark for a little bit. We're going to be up in a few weeks once we figure out some stuff. But doesn't change anything here. We're staying live on Meet the Movie Press.
They can't split us up, Mark.
No, they can't. And I am also proud to announce that I am the managing editor at geeknation.com.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So, guys, I want everybody to go to @geeknation on Twitter and tag them and say, awesome, or tag me as well. Congratulate them, congratulate me. I don't know. I'm having so much fun over there. They brought me on. We're doing some wonderful stuff. Podcasts, breaking news, all of the above.
Great.
And I'm working with Claire Kramer over there.
I love geeks. I love nations.
Yeah, we have a great studio over there. I work next to a life-size Yoda. That's how cool Geek Nation is. It's so much fun. Yeah, and I'm working with Claire Kramer. She was from Bring It On and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's all over the place. She's going to be interviewing Carrie Fisher at the Rhode Island Comic-Con, so check that out. Go to @GeekNation. You can get all your updates there. So, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in last night and your kind words when that dropped. I wanted to drop it here because it's Meet the Movie Press.
That's right. This is where we drop stuff, guys.
Yes, exactly. So, I will still be running schmozno.com. There's still going to be the crew over there, so don't worry, that's not going away. I'll just be writing and doing all my great stuff over at Geek Nation. So thanks again, guys. So let's just get right to it now, now that that's out of the way.
Dive right in.
That Star Wars trailer on the way in. Let's talk about it just for a bit, because I want to bring up something
Tell
even
me about
better.
it, because I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I saw people were already geeking out.
Yes, and no, Nathan Kaiser, I'm not leaving Schmozno. No. That, just so you know, that's what I said. I will be doing geeknation.com, and I will still be on the main show, Schmozno. I will still be here, so just so everybody knows that. Not leaving Schmozno at all. Guys, so yeah, the trailer, this is what happened to me. I'm driving into work here, and all of a sudden, everything's going wild on Geek Nation on the Twitter, and tags, and everybody's tagging me, and there was a Star Wars trailer international.
Yep, cars just started pulling over left and right
I did
to
pull
whip
over.
out their phones.
No, I did.
You really?
No, I did. I pulled over. Who
Who am I hosting this show
No,
with?
I had to make sure that it was getting shared on all the networks.
Oh, of course.
Because my junior editor at Geek Nation posted the story. I got it out there on social media and couldn't help it and watched it.
And what new things did you see?
There's a lot of new footage, and you know what? It's beautiful. Let's move on. That's it. I don't need to see any more. Everybody's going to see it.
Are you sure we don't want to spend the whole show discussing it?
We could.
Did it convince you to buy a ticket? Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah, I retroactively.
You were on the fence before.
I was.
This international trailer.
I was on the fence whether or not to buy 5 tickets, 5 different screenings, and
didn't
now it's
JJ just say we weren't getting a new trailer?
Yeah. And it's the international, so there was a lot, and it's so funny. It looks like a brand new trailer. There's a lot of new footage.
It is a brand new trailer.
Yeah. But there's one shot in particular that I loved, and it's like Apocalypse Now. It's like a TIE fighter flying in the sunset or whatever on Jakku or wherever they are. It's gorgeous.
Let me ask you, are you speaking English right now?
Yes.
Jakku is okay.
It's a planet. It's a planet.
Oh,
All right.
Jesus Christ.
However, that's a great, just a tag to talk about something bigger that I love that happened yesterday. There was this Force for Daniel movement.
That was beautiful.
If you guys haven't heard, Force for Daniel, Daniel Fleetwood was diagnosed with terminal cancer in July, given 2 months to live, some kind of rare form of cancer. Huge Star Wars fan. His wife set up this Force for Daniel hashtag, trying to get everybody to rally around. Maybe he can get a early viewing of Force Awakens. Mark Hamill retweets it, John Boyega. Everybody's kind of backing him up. And J.J. Abrams calls him the other night and says, "We're bringing it to you." And he watched an unedited cut of Force Awakens yesterday. Cool. And I mean, it's beautiful. I think that's wonderful.
It's a great thing that the studio did and that JJ did for this young man.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, there's obviously a lot of Star Wars fans probably suffering from cancer out there, and
yeah, you're right.
This one had a campaign go viral, but what about the next guy who maybe has even less time to live?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Do they have the rally and the support to start another campaign? Who knows?
Right.
Is this something Disney would do? I mean, you could argue it's like, oh man, now Disney has to do it for everybody that's maybe suffering. I don't like wrapping my head around that. This is one particular case that just was awful to see. To see him, you'll see him. He's very sick, and it made me sad. But the beauty of it is he got to see it. So.
Yeah, it was very nice, and that is the power of the internet.
Yeah,
that's sometimes the internet is capable of doing good.
Yeah,
I thought it was funny yesterday. I saw Devin Faraci offer $1,000 for a review. But I'm sure this young man Daniel signed a bunch of NDAs and whatnot.
Sure.
So.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But what's interesting, I thought, is that the movie is still unfinished. It's an unfinished copy.
Yeah.
A friend of mine in the VFX community actually told me he had to turn down a job on Star Wars The Force Awakens because he was committed to something else, something kind of frivolous, and he was so disappointed by that.
Wow.
He went to his bosses and sort of asked for the chance to, can I get 3 weeks off to go work on Star Wars? But no. So he was super bummed.
Oh, man. That's a bummer.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime for a VFX artist. But they are going to be working on the film, up until Thanksgiving, basically.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. That doesn't sound not normal or anything. That sounds pretty par for the course, especially with Star Wars. It's a big movie. Don't know if you guys have heard of it. All right, let's move on. There's always Star Wars talk, but I want to move on to some other news because this is movie press. So, Jeff, what do you want to talk about? You were dropping some mad stuff on the rap lately.
Let's start with a little Marvel, a little DC.
Let's do it. Yeah, I like it.
Whet people's appetites.
Yes, I want to talk about.
We will start with Wonder Woman.
Yes, that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
You dropped this on Friday last week. Was it Friday?
No, I think it was this week.
Was it this week? Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Monday.
My sources are indicating that Nicole Kidman, Oscar winner, Amazon-like in that she is 6 feet tall, projects a certain strength, is definitely in negotiations to play a high-ranking Amazon warrior, who I personally would assume to be Wonder Woman's mother.
That's what I'm thinking.
But again, I don't know the script. I don't know any of that stuff.
Right. Good pull, man. And great casting all around. I think
if it works out,
so
I mean, again, she had scheduling issues. She is in negotiations. That much is for sure true.
Okay.
But yeah, she right now she's filming, I think, John Cameron Mitchell's How to Talk to Girls at Parties. That'll probably be done by the end of the month or whatever.
Right.
And then she has to go do HBO's Big Little Lies or Little Big Lies or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
She's doing that with Reese Witherspoon. She's a producer on that project. So, she has a little bit of a say in scheduling, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman, obviously, huge movie, long shoot. She's a small part of it.
Right, so they can maybe fit her in
the character, she's not any part of it yet because there's no deal.
Sure.
But yeah, it doesn't sound like her character is like in every frame. Like maybe they could put her towards the back of the shoot. You never know.
Right.
So I would love to see it work out. I'd like to. let's look at. You take it away for a minute because I'm gonna look something up real quick.
Well, I'll tell you this: when you dropped the news, we were covering it on Geek Nation and also on Schmoes Know, and I was like, I was speaking with my junior editor Alex Welsh, and we were like, that is absolutely perfect casting. We definitely thought it was Wonder Woman's mom. That was kind of the speculation behind it. It just makes perfect sense. So I love this. I love that DC is going after this Nicole Kidman. It brings some prestige, in my opinion, because she is an Oscar winner.
Absolutely. And, like I saw some people sort of calling it the Anthony Hopkins in Thor kind of role.
That's a great comparison.
I mean, when you look at her filmography, and not really counting Nine or Australia, those obviously had some big budgets or whatever, but that's not really what I would call a big movie. The last really big movie she did was The Golden Compass in 2007. So we're talking about 8 years ago. She has done so many small movies. Trespass, The Paperboy, Stoker, Railway Man, Before I Go to Sleep, Grace of Monaco, of a new Werner Herzog movie. I mean, she could really use a big movie like this to kind of get her back into mainstream pop culture, if you will.
Yeah,
she really is a fabulous actress. She is tall. There's only so many actresses who could really play Gal Gadot's mother, if that is in fact the role.
Yeah, well, I think you're right on with that. I think it's got to be. But we never know.
But you need a whether it's her or Angelina Jolie or Cate Blanchett, somebody like that.
Yeah.
So I really hope it works out. I think it could be really cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for it. I mean, you're not going to get any arguments out of me. I love Nicole Kidman ever since Days of Thunder.
I really like her too. I'm actually really.
I love Days of Thunder.
I'm looking forward to Secret in Their Eyes. Did you
ever
see the original?
No. What's this again?
It's it was a foreign language crime thriller kind of thing. The remake is coming out end of the month, I believe. It's her and Julia Roberts and Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah, that looks amazing. The trailer
I think it looks really good. So,
I really want to see that.
Hopefully, that'll be Nicole's biggest movie in a while.
Good. All right. Well, that's your DC. I mean, there's not much.
Yeah, that was DC
stuff.
and then Marvel got a pretty damn good actor of its own.
Yeah.
Over on Doctor Strange, they welcomed Michael Stuhlbarg to the fold.
He's a great actor. I loved him in the Coen Brothers. How do you?
A Serious Man.
Serious Man. Thank you. I almost called it what'd I call it? Something Man. Which that's an underrated Coen Brothers movie, in my opinion.
I didn't love A Serious Man.
You didn't love it?
No, I wasn't a big fan of A Serious
I loved
Man.
It. I don't know. When they picked up what is the Torah, you're gonna know better than me. And this guy had it, and he's like, Jesus Christ!
It's pretty heavy, right? There's some fun stuff in that movie. Yeah. I didn't hate it or anything, but I didn't love A Serious Man. But for me, he's been so good in other things. He was great in Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
That's right. Andy Hertzfeld. Yep. I actually thought he was probably my favorite performance in the film.
He was good, yeah. I wish.
So you've seen it now?
I've seen it.
Okay, great.
I went and saw it a couple weekends ago.
Oh, okay.
When it finally was released wide, because I live a little bit outside of Los Angeles, so don't get the little
he was just
small theaters.
Giving it back to Steve Jobs a little. And anyways, I thought he was terrific. He's really good in Trumbo as Edward G. Robinson.
Oh, I do want to see that.
Veteran Hollywood actor. He was good in Pawn Sacrifice, and then he was good in this little movie Cut Bank that came out earlier this year with Liam Hemsworth and Teresa Palmer, and he played like the town weirdo.
Oh, cool.
Almost like unrecognizable. He's fun in Men in Black 3. I really like this guy, and it sounds like he's going to be playing Nicodemus West.
I don't know.
Is that it? The surgeon who does the surgery on his hands? On Strange's hands?
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am not familiar at all with the source material, but I hear things coming like the hands, the accident, the surgery on the hands, and then.
Did you see all the photos?
Yes, we saw the photos. Yeah, great. Looks good. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's really hard to judge set they're not even professional.
The movie's
set
gonna
photos.
be great.
Yeah.
Did you see that photo?
Did you see he's wearing a beard? How awesome!
I just liked all these. They were filming in Tibet, right?
Yeah, Nepal.
All these Tibetans, sort of just you're living that kind of existence one day, and then Marvel comes into town.
Right?
That must be so foreign and crazy to them.
Yeah. Well, I love it, and they're going to Nepal and Tibet to film this. Obviously, I got some of the fans were tagging me, and they're like, he's obviously in search of the Ancient One now, and I kind of like that idea. Tilda Swinton is doing the Ancient One, and he's searching he's like haggard looking and looks great. I mean, it puts a little bit of an idea of what we're going to get from Doctor Strange. I've been on record saying I think it's the greatest director choice in a very long time for Marvel. I love Scott Derrickson.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what happens with him.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So that's any other Marvel superhero news?
Not that I can recall, Mark.
Yeah.
Was there anything on Guardians 2? Or
No, I mean, we kind of, we heard Palm was going to be Mantis, didn't right?
Yeah, I think we discussed that last week, though, right?
We talked about that already. What's interesting to me is something not superhero, not Star Wars, and it's over at Sony, and that's the girl in the spider webs.
The girl in the spider's web, yes.
Spider's web.
Yeah.
Did I say spider webs?
So
Whatever.
THR had a story about that, and that is certainly something I had been tracking for the past couple of months.
Because you came out, was it? I had to update my article. I did some coverage on it, and then I guess I saw yours.
Well, yeah,
late,
I sort of showed you where my information came from to sort of explain myself. Listen, the Alicia Vikander story that we posted was super duper early.
Okay.
But really, it was just our way of following the THR story that, number one, it looks like Rooney Mara and Daniel Craig and David Fincher won't be back.
Yeah. We've kind of seen this.
Which is what I had heard as well.
Yeah, I've been hearing that as well.
Especially, Rooney and Fincher seem like a real package deal.
Yeah,
so she was only really coming back if he was going to come back. And given, the bad blood that sort of, went down on the last movie, I don't think that was ever going to happen. So, yeah, THR dropped that story, and we were looking for a way to follow. And I was like, well, that lines up with everything that I've heard. And I've also heard, that they're interested in Alicia Vikander, who's obviously blowing up right now.
Right.
I think she's in the Bourne movie, but the girl. I feel like the female lead in the Bourne movie always it's never like a real juicy meaty role.
No,
she was gonna do that and Assassin's Creed. So that's like two franchises that she was gonna do.
Yeah.
She dropped out of Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
So she is in Bourne franchise. Maybe there is room for another franchise like Dragon Tattoo. I think she has the right look.
Yeah.
The right level of fame as well, where like people are going to start to know her in the next year. Yet Sony can still probably get her on the cheap. It's not like they have to pay her a Jennifer Lawrence salary.
Right. Good point. And because and that's what I had heard, and because there was a lot of discussion coming out of this doing this movie. One, it's based on the book that is not written by the original author.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
it's the fourth book in the series. It was written after Stieg Larsson died.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not an uncommon thing. Sony's also doing it for Inferno, the Dan Brown thing. They're skipping the third book.
The Lost Symbol.
Right, exactly, and going to the fourth.
Right.
So in this one, they're just, they're going to the most recent book, since that's the book that everybody just bought.
Yep.
Or is going to be buying or whatever. I don't know if it even came out.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because, we're essentially, well, at least what THR was saying, that I'm not going to say reboot, but it's kind of they're starting over.
Yes, it is a reboot because, Fincher has a very expensive vision for these kinds of things.
Yep.
This never should have been $100 million movie. Like,
right.
Dragon Tattoo should not have cost $100 million.
It's very true.
It's essentially a mid-90s thriller that should have cost around $60 million.
Yeah.
And I think that is what the sequel will roughly be budgeted at.
I think you're
60.
right on. Yeah, and a lot of you guys were asking. I love that this is such a popular. It is a franchise. I think it's very popular. I haven't read any books. Have you read the books?
Yeah, no, I actually
need to
have
read the
not.
books.
My ex-girlfriend read them.
Yeah.
So I dabbled, but
Yeah.
but it's. I wonder if they're overestimating the interest in this character sometimes.
Right.
Everybody was reading these books a few years ago, but I don't really see too many people still talking about Lisbeth Salander. I think that at least this next movie will be more populist and less dark. I don't think you're going to see as much rape in the sequel as there was in the first film.
Yeah,
nobody wants to spend Christmas watching
that's
multiple rapes.
That's very true. That's very true. I thought it was interesting. It makes a lot of sense, guys, too. And I know that Daniel Craig has a big paycheck, but if he was going to do the sequel, then that's tough to do as well. So. Yeah, you're right about that budget. So we'll see. I hope it. I don't know. Do you think they'll ever go back and do the girl that played with fire or the girl?
Well, that was an interesting point that THR made. They paid like millions of dollars for this script from Steve Zalian for Girl Who Played with Fire. So if Stephen Knight is going to do Spider's Web, if that pans out and is a hit, maybe they'll make Playing with Fire the sequel.
There you go, because they're standalones, right? Are they? They're not interconnected like it's one story that goes through the three.
I am not exactly sure.
I'm not either. Hey guys, that's what the internet is for.
Yeah, tell us in the live chat.
Yeah, go to the live chat, which we are on youtube.com/Popcorn Talk Network.
And then there's sort of two other stories that we can kind of lead out from on this dragon tattoo thing.
I like it.
The first is the original dragon tattoo, Noomi Rapace.
Yeah.
She is in talks to play Amy Winehouse in a kind of independent biopic.
Yeah.
What do you think of this, Mark?
I love this.
Yeah?
Yeah, we talked about it on the main show last night. Everybody's like, what? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm in. Sasha Pearl Raver, she was on the show. She was like thinking that Noomi was a little too old looking maybe to play Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, and the accent definitely worries me because she's never really been able to hide that accent.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
From what I can recall.
Prometheus. You're right. She had it. Well, maybe she was letting that accent be a part of the character in Prometheus. So I don't know. I mean, if she can do it, I hope she can do it.
She actually has the look. When you look at them sort of side by side, I can see how she might work.
Yeah.
However, who wants an Amy Winehouse biopic? Well,
I'd watch it. I'd watch it.
Listen, the documentary came out earlier this year. I heard it was really good. I'm actually
I do want to see the documentary.
It'll probably make the top 10 movie list of movies that I missed this year.
Okay.
But, like, did she really merit a narrative biopic? Like,
that's a good question. I look at it as I say yes because of kind of the life that I heard about. At least I'm not very, very familiar, but at least what I've heard behind the scenes, and obviously that led up to her death. So it's interesting to me. I'm a big fan of the music biopics in general. So I'm always like, yeah, if it's done well, and if it's a great actor or actress, you know.
Yeah, I don't think that Amy Winehouse is really a James Brown or a Johnny Cash.
Right.
So I will be very curious to see if this gets made, and if it does get made, if it's any good.
Right.
We'll see.
Well, we got some people in here saying I love Amy Winehouse, you know, so I think there's definitely the audience.
And you can still love her with the music. It's just like if I was if I was a studio executive, I would be wary of making an Amy Winehouse biopic.
Yeah. And
but who knows, at the right price, maybe.
Yeah. Zeno Hour on the live chat just says, just watch the doc. That's all you need. That's a good point. I can see that.
And then the other thing stemming from Dragon Tattoo is Daniel Craig and whether or not he's going to be back as Bond. I mean, it seems like everything that he says he wants out. THR just ran a story as we were starting the show about Bond producer Michael G. Wilson says he thinks that he's got Daniel Craig.
Okay.
He says that there's no contract.
Okay.
But he thinks that Daniel Craig will be back for another one.
Okay.
It seemed. So, do you see Spectre by now?
I did. I've seen it.
It seemed to me. I mean, guys, I guess that we're going to be getting into a little spoilers on the show.
Yeah, let's issue a spoiler alert, guys. Why don't you turn off or mute this for just a little bit?
We're not going into crazy spoiler territory.
But we can at least review it, or tell them our thoughts.
Well, it just seemed to me like Bond's story is kind of wrapped up in this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't like it. I did not like that wrap up.
Did you like the movie?
The movie was fun. I gave it a B.
Interesting that you used that word, because I think that if there's anything that the movie is not, is fun.
Really? I see. Okay, when I say fun, I think of the opening scenes. I thought it was.
I love the opening scene.
Yeah, it didn't really, but it just kind of was kind of cool. It didn't really seem to. I don't know.
Well, to me, it's like, remember reading all these stories about Stephanie Sigman as a Bond girl?
Yes, right.
Miss Bala?
Yeah.
She's over 2 minutes. She takes a walk with the fucking guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
You're a Bond girl now?
Pretty much, yeah. I guess
she was. I didn't even realize it was her. She's like an extra. Well,
and the thing is that the Christoph Waltz was sorely underutilized in this movie. He was not.
I agree. He wasn't
amped
up too late.
Yep. Well,
he does the same thing he is in every movie. It was like, James, I am the master. I can't. You know what? I can't do the accent. I'm not even going to try.
Yeah, I know, right? He's like, I just was waiting for him to pour some milk.
I'm the architect of all your pain, James.
Yeah, but see, it was pretty good, actually. I just thought, and you know what? Really, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh yeah. There's a lot for me. There's a lot of issues with it, just in the execution of it. To come from Casino Royale and moreover Skyfall, I mean, say what you will of Quantum of Solace, but I was a little let down over it. And then I read Drew McWeeney's.
I was going to say, read Drew McWeeney and Devin Faraci's reviews.
Yes.
They make a ton of good points.
Great, yeah. Spoilers, but...
I mean, I'm just tired of, like, these villains that come out and they're like, yes, everything that has happened to you in the last few movies was me.
See, that's it. That's what really upset me.
All along.
And what really upset me is they didn't show this at all.
No.
They told us. They sat, literally, he monologues. He
Welcome to the Bond franchise.
Yeah, but in such a way that it was like The Incredibles, where they're like, "Oh, you got me monologuing." It was so. I was just like, "Oh God." It just really kind of.
I mean, the romantic subplot with him and Léa Seydoux doesn't work.
Nope.
She's way too fucking young for this guy.
Yep.
But Monica Bellucci, you have one of the world's most beautiful women. Mm-hmm. She's in the movie for 5 minutes.
Yep.
It's like if it had been about her and him, I think it would have been so much more interesting.
That would have been fascinating.
That scene actually smoldered. Mm-hmm. They had some actual chemistry.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, such a disappointment. The train scene was fun though with Batista.
Yeah, Batista was good. He was good. Yeah, he was silent. He was very quiet. He said, I think, one word.
Yeah,
and then
Léa Seydoux, I get being a love interest for Channing Tatum and Gambit. Which is still without a director.
Right.
But yeah, with Daniel Craig, it doesn't do it. And also, this guy, women just, like, fall for. He doesn't even have to be charming anymore. Normally, he's, like, a nice, like a cat, and it's like, you can't resist me.
Yeah.
But, like, this, he just stands there and, like, stares in a tuxedo, and they hop into bed with him. It's not enough for me.
Yeah.
He's not charming.
No, I think it's like they were trying to, like, they've been kind of doing these movies, like, about him becoming Bond. And again, go read Drew McWeeney's article because he makes some great points to that. And it never quite lands in it for me, and it never quite... I think it was the closest he's been to the James Bond we know, like Double Martini, Shaken Not Stirred, and this woman guy, and whatever. But just everything felt... I don't know.
So let's rank them. What was the best Daniel Craig Bond movie?
Casino Royale for me. Absolutely. I freaking love Casino Royale.
Yeah, I think that was probably mine too. Then Skyfall?
Then Skyfall.
Then Spectre?
I would put Spectre.
And then Quantum.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, that's my order too, I would say.
Yeah,
Skyfall and Casino are close. But
they really are close.
Yeah.
I just think for what Casino Royale did to the franchise, like the way it kind of rebooted and kind of... it got me.
And then I'm working on an article, and I just want to get your opinion. So if you were Michael Wilson and Barbara Broccoli, you were both people at once.
Yeah.
Where do you the Bond rights are up with Sony.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Do you renew them there? What studio do you give them to? You're playing studio head right now. Go.
I would definitely take it away from Sony.
Why?
I just think that I think they've been playing it pretty well. They've done well with these Casino Royale.
They elevated the franchise from what I thought was pretty campy Pierce Brosnan stuff to the franchise it is now, and got it to $1 billion where it had never been before.
You're right. That's a good point.
So why do you take it away from Sony after they did, from what I think is a pretty good job with it?
They did do a pretty good
and
job.
Then
Maybe I
where do you
take that
it?
back. I heard that Warner Brothers is offering kind of some pretty good money out there to take it over.
Yep.
I don't know though if Warner Brothers is right for it. That's a good question. I don't know. I can't. This is why I'm not.
It's going to be a good article. I'd like to publish it today. We'll see if I get it done.
You know what? I think maybe keep it at Sony. I take that back.
I mean,
you know what?
It feels like Sony's going to lose it, but I don't know if that's the producers posturing. You know, like I get that Bond's a free agent. I always think of things in terms of sports.
Right.
Bond's a free agent. You got to hear what offers are out there on the market.
Yeah.
If I was Sony, I'd be like, listen, I've done a good job for you. Mm-hmm. Why are you in such a rush to leave? Warner Brothers, is the perceived front runner because apparently Kevin Tsujihara has a good relationship with Gary Barber or whatever at MGM.
Right. I heard something there.
But Warner Brothers has had a terrible year.
Right, they've had a terrible year. That's true. True.
Paramount needs it the most.
Yeah,
they need franchises.
Yep.
And while Paramount is not good at making movies right now, they are good at making a certain kind of movie. Yeah. And that kind of movie is the Mission Impossible movies. And Bond needs a little bit of fun.
Yeah, the better movie out there is Mission Impossible 5. I mean,
I totally agree. But so it's like if you could sort of get the brain trust involved in that series or involved with Bond somehow.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's a good
think
question.
that there could be something cool there.
Yeah, I think Paramount's a good choice if you look at Mission Impossible.
Universal's obviously killing it this year. I don't know if they even need it. Donna Langley's a Brit,
Right.
which should help.
Well, I mean, the question really becomes like, who's going to be? Are they going to allow good people to work on it with very little studio interference? I don't want some.
There's not going to be much. I mean, again, this franchise is Eons and Dan Jacks. It's Broccoli and Michael Wilson. So really, this is. I mean, the reason that studios want Bond is essentially for market share. They're not getting rich off these Bond movies, no matter how well they do. I think Sony only made something like $50 million on Skyfall, which grossed $1 billion.
Really? Wow, this is interesting to me. Okay.
Yeah, this is just to help market share and to basically have a tentpole on your slate, anchoring the slate.
Right. Yeah, important.
But it's not so much about the money. The other thing, to me, if I was the Wilsons or the Broccolis, whatever, I'd want Bond to have a presence in a theme park. And that's really Disney and Universal. And we're going to talk about Fox announcing a theme park later in the show.
Right.
But Universal and Disney have these two major theme parks. How do you not have a James Bond attraction in one of them?
Well, Disney, just doesn't make sense.
No. I disagree. Disagree
really?
Completely.
Wow. Okay, I want to know
Disney
this. We might
got Pixar,
Marvel,
Lucasfilm. If I'm Bob Iger, how do you not make a play for the Bond rights? And you go to these people and you say, look at what I've done with these brands. You give us the Bond thing, and now it's like.
I get that, but can you have a Bond in that
Disney?
character in Disney? Yeah,
it's PG-13.
Sure. Yeah, but I think he seems darker. He just seems
he is darker, but there's a lot of adults who still go to Disney World.
I would totally. If he was at Disney, I would.
If you need Bond with a gun outside of an attraction,
right?
But I think that there's a way to do it that's a little bit kind of family friendly.
I would have to see it to believe it. I mean, really, for me, on paper, it doesn't compute. Not computing. Okay. It's like I can see Star Wars. Yeah. And maybe that's because I grew up with Star Tours at Disneyland.
Star Wars is violent, though. You have people cutting off their arms.
Sure, yeah. Then, like I said...
Bond, I mean, there's a lot of shooting and stuff, but it's not gory violence.
But James Bond is martini drinking, taking women to bed. I mean, that just doesn't seem Disney.
It could be in an adult section of the park. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I said,
I wonder if that will play.
Have your presentation ready for me on Monday, and we'll discuss.
Got it. Yeah, we'll see. Again, Spectre's on pace for an $80 million opening.
That's great. Yeah,
it's good. But again, when you look at these monster franchises, the Avengers and Jurassic and Fast and Furious, these are at $150, $200 million openings.
I know, and that's what I read. I read something crazy that they have to make $625 million to break even. Just to break even.
Well, sure. The movie probably costs $250, $300 million, and then another $150 on marketing.
Yeah.
So then you're at $400 million, and then if you gross $800 million, then you make your $400 million back because you're only keeping half.
Right. Exactly.
So you say, I don't know all the numbers of it all, but
what benefited Skyfall was that the word of mouth was this is the best Bond movie I think we've seen ever, and people kept going back.
That's true.
I went back twice. And so I don't know if Spectre is going to do it because there's some bad word of mouth right now.
That's true.
I'm seeing it. So it will be interesting.
And people are liking the Peanuts movie. The Peanuts movie is going to take a $50 or $60 million chunk out of the box office. And I know that movie is for kids, but kids don't pull up in their own cars. The parents have to take the kids, which means the parents aren't going to see Skyfall during those 2 hours.
That's true.
Or 82 minutes.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting.
Peanuts was over. I went to the bathroom during Peanuts. It was over when I got back.
It's like a Pixar short.
Cute movie, though.
Yeah, I've heard good things, actually.
And I got to interview Paul Feig. I woke up early on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
I hate waking up early. This is literally the only time of the week I can wake up early for, relatively.
Yeah.
But Paul was only available at 7 a.m. on Wednesday, and I was like, I'll do it.
How was that?
We had a great interview. It's going to be up later today on the Wrap if it's not up already. And Peanuts was cute. It's definitely a kid's movie.
Yep.
I really like did you grow up watching it and Charlie Brown, that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. I was a big Peanuts guy. I had the Snoopies I would carry around with me. I had the Snoopy case that you open it up and put clothes on him. Oh, yeah. I mean, Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, the Christmas, the music. I mean, I listen every Christmas.
It's classic.
I play the Christmas album music because it's jazz. It's the Peanuts theme.
Nice.
It's So yeah, it's a part of my childhood. So, and I heard last night from Christian Harloff, who went and he said it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's good. I like the Charlie Brown and the Peanuts gang stuff a lot more than the Snoopy Woodstock stuff, which to me is really kid stuff.
That
like there wasn't anything really there for me when it cuts to the and it really is like. Here's the Charlie Brown stuff, and here's the Snoopy stuff interspersed.
That's interesting. Well, it's like kind of Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. You have that little side mission with Snoopy, who thinks he's fighting the Red Baron. So
there was that. But yeah, if you have kids, definitely take them to see it this weekend. What else was going on this week? Should we talk about our boy Quentin?
Yes, we do need to talk about this because one, the latest trailer for Hateful Eight came out yesterday. I covered it for Geek Nation and adored it. I think it just looks fantastic. It seems very classic Tarantino, but something is overshadowing that, and that's
big time,
and that is Quentin Tarantino, jumping into the fray about these cops being murderers.
And where do you fall on this?
Oh man, it's tough. Yesterday, it's interesting. I was at work talking about it, and a retired cop was in the office talking to me about it. And he was obviously for the cops going, Quentin Tarantino really kind of misspoke. He doesn't know all the facts, this, and that. So that's one side. On the other side is, look, it's freedom of speech. He can do what he wants. He can say what he wants. Then I read that what's this faction of police officers?
I can't even keep it straight.
I can't either, but it's a veiled threat. Well, he'll get his. You'll see. And that to me is like,
we have something planned.
We have something planned.
Which is fucking crazy.
That to me sounds awful. I mean, I'm sorry. When I hear that, I'm falling on Quentin Tarantino's side. I'm like, you can't say that. Sounds scary to me.
Tarantino may have made a dangerous generalization.
Yes,
by mistake. I don't think that he was just calling all cops murderers.
No, I don't buy it. How can you? I can't say that. Nobody can say that.
Yeah, that is obviously absurd. But cops have been murdering people in this country.
Yeah.
For a while now, and doing it just way too easily.
Look, there's video evidence.
Yeah,
it's out there.
Devin wrote a really good story about it yesterday,
article.
And he had the videos in it. And
Yep.
when you look at those videos, it's hard not to say that police are, crossing boundaries and, in some cases, gunning down unarmed African Americans.
Yeah, look, there's that North Carolina video that he put in his article, which is one of the most awful pieces of evidence I've seen. Right. And so, there is definitely something out there that needs to be done, or at least commented on, or at least discussed.
Right, and it's not. It's crazy to me that the cops are now like sort of targeting him, and it's like, why not sort of work on the problem and address that problem rather than come after this guy who, is just freedom of speech. They should be defending his right to say that, not coming after him with these veiled threats.
Right.
Like, what are they going to do? Walk into every showing of the Hateful Eight and be like, we thought we saw a suspect in here. We got to clear the theater.
Yeah.
I could totally see that happening. Or like, impromptu fire drill inspection or alarm.
God,
I don't fucking know, but there are ways they could fuck with a theater.
Yeah, I think they could. You're right, and it's so funny. But to go from what you're suggesting, like, God, I mean, it just what they said though. That whatever spokesman says this, like we have something planned or whatever. It sounded just very 1984 scary to me.
It was.
Like the thought police is like. Literally, like, okay, you said this.
Yeah,
now
has he broken the law?
No.
Then shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, this is not your business or your jurisdiction. Like,
and there, Zeno Hour says the police unions are sounding like thugs. I would tend to agree with you. I think it's kind of scary. It just sounds not good. And to be on the other side, Quentin Tarantino said things that didn't sound good, but that's and I guess you could argue the other point that the cops, if they want to say, look, we're going to do something about it, well, okay, that's their right too.
That's suggesting action. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting controversy. It is keeping Quentin's name out there. People are accusing this of being a Harvey Weinstein orchestrated publicity stunt. I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
I think it does seem like the police are sort of playing that card too, where it's just all these unions who really have no business jumping into this fray
Yeah.
are like doing it for the public relations. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a mess. I'll say that. I don't like it. It doesn't actually change anything in my opinion about
How many of
Hateful
these
Eight.
cops are going to go see this movie? I'm going to laugh my ass off.
A lot of them. Probably.
There's no way that every cop in America is just not going to go see the Hateful Eight.
Well, I think if you're a cop, and I'm trying to put my feet in those shoes here. If I was in their shoes, I mean, I would have to look at it and look at the evidence that's coming out every day and go, yeah, there's something going on out there. I'm not that person. I'm going to uphold the law and do the things that are good and right. And I see his point. So there you go. That's just me, though. I don't know what it's like to be on the other end of that. I do know that, God, they are doing something I can't do. They're putting their lives on the line, and I don't know what it's like if they see something and maybe it's a gun or maybe not. So, yeah, but when I know that there's a man running that way with his back to me and then I shoot him, I can't wrap my head around.
Aim lower. Jesus.
Yeah, shoot him in the leg.
Shoot him.
Wow,
what else is going on?
That was
down
probably
there?
the most political we've ever been.
We really did, yeah.
On
Dun, dun,
Meet the
dun.
Movie Press. So, all right, can we talk about...
what do you want to discuss?
Well, Leo Silverman, can we talk about Shane Carruth, Insane Cast of Superstars?
Yes,
Mark.
I actually have that on my list here.
Great, let's talk about it. What is that?
First of all, have you seen Shane Carruth's films? Or is this just me about to start monologuing?
Okay, just monologue. Yeah, what has he done?
He's done 2 films. He did Primer, which was good.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I love
Primer's really good. He did
Yeah.
Upstream Color, which I found to be
I haven't seen that.
literally unwatchable.
Primer is very good.
Everyone, Upstream Color is considered a masterpiece by a lot of smart people.
Okay.
Upstream Color, if I remember correctly, was my worst movie of the year when it came out.
Okay.
It was an indecipherable puzzle of a film. So he's doing...
Primer walked that line, too. Primer was definitely, but it was good. I liked it.
So Modern Ocean, this guy has wrangled a hell of a cast. It's like Anne Hathaway, Daniel Radcliffe, Keanu Reeves.
That's right.
Tom Holland and the Spidey runner-up, Asa Butterfield, Chloe Moretz, Jeff Goldblum, Abraham Ada, who's amazing in Beasts of No Nation, which you should also be watching on Netflix now because it's available.
This is
so
a
an
crazy
incredible cast. Quite a jump for Shane Carruth.
Yeah.
I don't know what the budget of the film is. I mean, it's being described as an epic, like about shipping routes and stuff. The logline definitely worries me.
Uh-oh. Okay.
It sounds... Again, I don't know what this guy's vision is, and Boris Kid had a really interesting tweet that the script is 200 pages and full of pictures and diagrams and shit.
Holy crap. Really? Wow, this sounds...
The movie does not make sense to me on a lot, but I mean, I know Shane Carruth is not the type of filmmaker who can be reduced to a logline.
Sure.
I would literally bet almost any listener out there $100 right now that the cast that was announced is not going to be the cast that's in the movie.
Okay.
Like,
Based
guys,
on the logline?
this is AFM. AFM announcements are more or less bullshit.
Yeah, I
Okay.
could agree with that. We're talking about this movie might not ever get made, correct?
No. I think that it's going to get made. I think that there's
But
a
just not with
faction
it.
of the independent film community that, like, really supports Shane Carruth. And
Sure, but
Yeah,
with that
no,
cast, I mean, what I'm thinking
just-
is with the cat. I mean,
how do you get all these schedules to line up? I mean, Tom Holland, we obviously know is going to be super busy.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway and Keanu Reeves are pretty fucking busy.
Yeah.
I'm sure Daniel Radcliffe and Chloe are too.
right.
I just
All franchise players.
I'll put it
out
this
there.
way, like, I did a story, about Ricky Gervais joining the cast of Blazing Samurai,
Yeah,
which
Blazing
is an animated movie.
Mel Brooks, yeah.
And he was on, like, an ad that was in Screen International down at AFM that a source had called me and said, oh, you see Ricky Gervais is in the cast?
Yeah.
His people disputed that casting.
Really?
Okay, they're like, no, that's not a done deal or whatever. And it ended up working out.
Right.
Same thing with Gary Oldman and The Hitman's Bodyguard. That was a THR exclusive this week.
Okay.
We tried to confirm that with Gary's people. They had no idea what we were talking about. They're like, we've never heard of it.
And this is coming...
He's not doing that movie.
Is this coming out of AFM?
Yeah. We
This is
went
all
back
coming
to
out.
Millennium. They're like, no, he's part of the cast.
Okay.
So, like, people's stories do not align on some of these AFM announcements where the studio's like, so-and-so's in. The reps are like, absolutely not.
Okay.
We've never heard of it. Whatever it is. So who knows what the hell happens with this Modern Ocean thing.
Now, I've been to AFM, and for those of you out there, it's the American film market. I actually went with my independent horror movie, and we were able to get some distribution that went nowhere. However, that's a side point. So I know a little bit about this.
Yeah.
What, in your professional opinion, why do you say most of these AFM stories are bullshit?
I think that they use these celebrities. They use these celebrities' names to drum up the sales.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And it's almost like the celebrity gives their permission for their name to be used to sell the movie. But not all these celebrities and actors wind up actually being in the movie. You know, whether it's for scheduling reasons, money reasons, maybe the sales didn't go as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it's almost like they're just lending their celebrity to these projects to help get them off the ground.
Yeah.
But things are always subject to change.
Yeah, and well, some interesting. So I saw news coming out, and they announce a movie that's being adapted from a book I've never heard about, and they're saying it's going to be a movie, and I've never heard of the book, and there's nobody attached. What is that? I mean, is that truth behind that, or is that just?
I mean, again, AFM, they're trying to sell whatever they got.
Okay.
Whether it's a script, book options.
Okay.
It's a real frivolous kind of time of year.
Yeah.
I mean, even when it's not AFM, like DreamWorks is The Girl on the Train. That's based on a huge bestseller. People say it could be the next Gone Girl.
Sure.
And again, this has nothing to do with AFM, but like the trades, we were all in such a rush because we'd heard that Chris Evans and Jared Leto were going to be the male leads in it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember calling, and I was probably like the second or third trade to call. And so once I make that call, like it triggers alarm bells. And so THR put out a super early story on Chris Evans and Jared Leto. I remember telling DreamWorks, like, I'll hold and wait for this to sort of play out.
That makes sense.
So THR throws these names out. And 2 weeks later, they're both gone.
That's right. Yeah, I was going to say
Justin Theroux came in, and now Luke Evans just replaced Jared Leto.
There you go. Okay.
So
funny.
some of the stuff that you're reading about, it's like some of it is the studio's faults, some of it is agency's faults, and some of it is honestly our faults, the trade's faults. Well, we shouldn't have rushed to report that Girl on the Train news because it was that shaky.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting conversation.
But it's just
maybe
so
for
competitive
another time.
out there. We all feel like, well, we got to go.
That's what it is you say that it kind of sounds an alarm, and everybody wants to cover it and get the news out. And I get it. Okay. Well, that's the AFM portion of the show.
Yeah, there was another cool AFM thing. Just Liam Neeson's going to play Deep Throat.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he's going to play Mark Felt.
Oh, man, that is really cool.
Yeah, from the director of Concussion, Peter Landesman. I mean, he likes those kind of historical things. He did Parkland, the JFK assassination movie.
Yep.
It just seems like a pretty interesting story to go, take you into the mind of the guy who was actually leaking the Watergate stuff.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And just to talk about Concussion, maybe we can talk about some trailers. That Concussion trailer that came out yesterday looks pretty damn good.
I think Concussion's going to be super good.
Yeah.
I know that people are kind of skeptical, but
I love those type of movies.
It's a great story.
It's a great story. Yeah, and it's something that's actually very timely. I think it's the conversation that's bubbling to the surface. And it's going to, in my opinion, over the next year, we're going to get some pretty serious facts on this concussion stuff happening. So, yeah, is it true that the NFL does not want this movie to come out? I mean, I've heard rumblings, but that could be just conspiracy theory.
Listen, I don't think it's going to make the NFL look good, but I don't think that they're against it. I think that the NFL does want to educate people about the dangers of playing football, and I think that this is going to benefit everybody, this movie. And I think Will Smith looks really good.
He looks really good.
We've seen, I saw a little bit more footage at CinemaCon back in April. I think it's a potential awards player.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'm going to see it Tuesday night at AFI.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm looking forward to that. AFI's got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to see the 33, the Chilean Minor movie on Monday. I couldn't even get into that.
Wow.
I'm going as someone else's +1.
Nice. Okay.
What else am I seeing? The Big Short.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
That should be cool. And then last night I saw By the Sea.
Tell me about this. Yeah, I'm interested to know about By the Sea.
It is going. You're going to see mixed to negative reviews. I would say I was mixed on it. I actually didn't hate it.
Well, the trailer just was like, man, that's depressing.
It is like a sort of very personal, intimate movie. It is not Mr. and Mrs. Smith 2. Yeah. It is like just
I get it. Excuse me.
Disintegrations of marriages and whatnot, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It works in a sense because of their celebrity.
Sure. I get that.
Just watching the two of them, knowing who they are, it's impossible to separate them from their sort of real lives. So I think that actually adds a pretty interesting element. And then in the film, again, no spoilers, but they're a voyeuristic couple.
Okay.
There are a couple who are on the rocks, and then they're at this hotel, and there's another couple that is celebrating their honeymoon, and so they're kind of spying on them a little. And it's interesting to me, the idea that basically the world's most photographed couple, Brad and Angie, are now turning the tables, and they're the ones doing the looking.
Ooh, I like that.
So there was some interesting stuff in there. It is way too long and self-indulgent, a little slow. But there's just something about watching the two of them together that is kind of transfixing.
Okay.
So
I can buy that.
Don't watch it with your significant other.
I know.
It'll lead to a divorce.
Yeah, you said that
mistrust and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But,
I guess I won't take.
It wasn't as bad as you may read about today from some corners.
Okay, I get that. Well, cool. All right. How are we doing on time here? Zach, do we need to wrap it up over here? Any
that
word?
show seemed like it went by
You
so
guys
quick.
got a few minutes.
A few minutes?
We'll do
okay.
5 more minutes.
Let's do 5 more minutes because we started late. What would you like to... I mean, there's a few things here. We've talked about that. Anything you want to talk about?
Did you know there's going to... Fox is building a theme park?
Yes, this is good. Yeah, I heard that. It's going to have some Avatar. It's going to have some Titanic.
Yeah.
What else?
But I think the thing that jumped out to me, and I think Apes as well.
Apes, yeah.
But oddly enough, the one that just I'm remembering from the announcement is Predator.
Oh,
It's
right.
going to be like a Predator attraction. That sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, man, sign me up. I'm all for it. I don't know what the Titanic thing could be,
go
but
Fox.
Predator, hell yeah. And it's got to be Alien.
Just a photo op of if you did the I'm the king of the world and there's a photo op there.
Sure, I'm sure
You
it's-
buy that photo for $20 when you get off that ride.
I hope we get the Titanic experience. You get on there and what it's like to actually sing.
Yeah, I don't have the Fox announcement in front of me, but yeah, it sounded cool, and I think that we could always use. I feel like I've gone to Disney and Universal so many times. Like I'm down for another theme park. Although I think this one's in Dubai, right? Or so
yeah,
it's something crazy. So like, I'll probably never even go.
Yeah. Right.
Bad Santa 2 got the director of Mean Girls.
Yeah, great.
Well, I mean,
Perfect.
Whatever. Mark Waters hasn't really done anything interesting since Mean Girls.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I love Mean Girls. So
I actually heard. I'm thinking if I should say this. I mean, it doesn't matter. Please don't write this up as an article. You're going to get me in trouble. And again, they're not going in this direction. This is not the direction of Bad Santa 2. But I was told a story this week where years ago they were discussing one of the ideas of Jack Nicholson coming in and being Billy Bob Thornton's dad. Okay, and that's why Billy Bob is the way he is, because he had this miserable wretch of a father. and Billy Bob's
brilliant. That would be fun. Yeah,
I won't go into it, but the idea of Jack Nicholson, who I'm sure is not coming out of quasi-retirement to do Bad Santa 2, trust me.
Yeah, I don't think
it would have been a really cool idea back then.
That's a great. I know, makes me laugh.
If you're in California, I don't know if you've heard of the Los Feliz murder mansion. Have you heard of that?
Yes. Wait a minute. Okay, refresh my memory.
I dropped that on Friday afternoon, and then I actually read the story that it's actually about.
Okay.
Over the weekend. But yeah, there's a mansion in Los Feliz.
Okay.
Where, reportedly this guy killed his wife with a hammer, tried to kill his kids, and then killed himself.
Okay.
And nothing has changed from that fateful night.
Okay. What do you mean?
Like the house is the same. Okay. Although apparently people moved in shortly after and then experienced like a haunting, and they fucking rushed out. So like that Christmas tree that they had was still there. The presents are still wrapped under the tree. The mansion is abandoned, so vagrants use it. Squatters, prostitutes take Johns there. People are doing heroin in the mansion.
Oh my God.
But like, no one goes in the living room or the dining room. It's actually sounds fucking creepy as hell.
I'd
love to roll by there. I think I may be too chicken shit. But
yeah, should we do a Meet the Movie Press
someone's
field
developing
trip?
a movie on that.
That's crazy.
Did you see the trailer for London Has Fallen?
Yeah, I did.
Badass, huh?
Yeah, lots of blowing up things.
Yep. There's a lot of explosions.
Gerard Butler is taking on all the terrorists. Every single one of them.
It did,
they all congregate in London.
People told me in my timeline that Olympus Has Fallen was the most die-hard movie since Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Absolutely. I actually really enjoyed Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah, so did I. It was definitely better than White House Down.
Yeah,
it was a real pleasant surprise.
It was. And so we basically have this new John McClane.
This is the bigger scale, and they're swapping in like Dylan McDermott for Jackie Earle Haley.
There we go. Okay.
And I like the idea of the president sort of being like a buddy movie a little.
Yeah, I dig that. They tried to do that with White House Down, and it didn't work. But yeah, I liked it. It looks pretty cool. The fact that all the world leaders are there, I think it's an interesting, cool take. It's like, what do you want? It's an action movie, so I'm all for it.
Michael Winterbottom left the Roger Ebert movie this week. Creative differences were cited.
Oh, the dreaded
and I like
differences.
Winterbottom, but it'll be interesting to see who they get for that project, which is a mild curiosity of mine.
Yeah. And what else? And I think just I know some people are asking me about it on here. Jurassic World as a trilogy. Yeah.
What did you think, gang?
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think?
I mean, I think it's funny that the news is spun now that who came out at Universal saying, it was planned as a trilogy all along. It was a great surprise for us.
Right. Yeah.
Bullshit. Bullshit. You have this trilogy. We want a new trilogy. That's what everybody
Everything's
wants.
a trilogy. If a movie's successful, you can count on it having at least one sequel.
Yeah, it's
not two. So.
My God. So I am on record. I love Jurassic World. I thought it was so much fun in the theaters. Yeah. Okay. Good. We're getting two more. I'm all for it. I'm going to watch the hell out of those movies.
The Crow's back on track supposedly over on Relativity.
Okay, I'm going to set a timer.
Yeah, I reported it's supposed to now start production in March. I mean, they've locked the director up, Corin Hardy, up with a holding deal so that he didn't go off because obviously he's getting other offers. And they assured him, no, we're going to have the money to make it by March.
Yeah.
They still don't have a leading man, although Corin Hardy has indicated that he has someone in mind.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see.
Oh man,
I'd love to see it happen.
This Crow movie. This Crow movie is just like so. It seems cursed. I mean, just everybody just joins it and then leaves. Joins it and then leaves. So yeah,
it is depressing. Again, a lot of that has to do with Relativity situation, but
sure,
they are expected to be stabilizing. Riz Ahmed is joining the new Bourne movie. That was cool this week.
Cool.
I loved him in Nightcrawler. He's in Rogue One.
Yep, he's in Rogue One, and I mean, come on, Nightcrawler. I thought he was just second to Jake Gyllenhaal as being awesome. Which, by the way, I catch up on movies sometimes late. I finally saw Southpaw, and I don't understand why it had some negative reviews.
You really liked it?
I loved that movie. I thought it was fantastic. I thought Jake Gyllenhaal is now become my favorite actor.
I think. Well, I think he is incredible.
Yeah,
I thought Southpaw was okay.
Yeah.
It was a little formulaic.
It was, but it got me nonetheless. I found myself tearing up quite a bit in that movie. I was like, Jesus, this is awful.
It was emotional. And speaking of boxing movies, I have heard great things about Creed.
Yeah.
I have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
But I am hearing that it could be, a sly sort of,
comeback
awards contender.
Really?
So,
yeah.
Well, we will see.
We got the prestige behind it.
Creed comes out in a couple of weeks.
I can't wait for that. Yeah.
Otherwise, that just about does it, Mark.
I think that does do it for Meet the Movie Press. Guys, thanks as always for joining us in the live chat. We've been going crazy. 1 hour left. Yeah, Warcraft trailers coming soon, guys.
That was cool too. That Duncan Jones got his Mute movie together with Paul Rudd and Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah, that's great.
That project sounds kind of interesting. I like the idea of Alexander Skarsgård as like this hulking mute.
Yeah, right. It's pretty interesting. And sorry, Duncan Jones' Source Code was on the other night talking about Jake Gyllenhaal again. I mean, I love that movie.
Another good one.
Forgot how great that movie was. We couldn't turn it off. It was on TV. But anyway, so guys, this has been Meet the Movie Press. As always, you can find me at Riley Around and at Geek Nation now, geeknation.com. And be sure and head on over to schmoesknow.com and check out all our great writers over there. Where can they find you, my friend?
Jeff Sneider at the InSneider on Twitter. You can find my stuff on therap.com.
Nice.
And that's it, guys. Have a happy James Bond weekend. Check it out.
Go check out Spectre and be sure and tweet at us, and we will see you next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.